Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. All right, guys, we're going to talk about the top 4 rackets, the top 4 best-selling rackets in the nation, and why they are the top selling and what makes them great and what best strings we should string them with. Perry's with me today. Stay tuned. Oh, hey guys. The Rec Tennis 2.0 mobile app is out now. Download it today. As you know, Direct Tennis is the first place to connect stringers with tennis players in your neighborhood. With the 2.0 mobile app, they now have a tennis shop. You can buy tennis gear on the app now. And through the app only, get 10% off with discount code TennisSpin. And you will get 10% off your entire order. Download the Direct Tennis 2.0 mobile app today. All right, Perry. So you and I have been in this business for way too long, and we know way too much.
You know too much.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you a scenario.
Okay.
That I deal with every day, and I'm sure you do too. Okay, customer walks in. Okay, let's pretend it's me.
Hello.
I haven't played the game in 20 years. My kids are old enough in which they're doing other things now, and I'm going to take up tennis again.
Okay.
I used to play with a pro staff back in the day, and I loved it because it was so stiff.
It had the sweet spot the size of a teaspoon,
Right.
But man, it felt good.
Right, exactly. So what do you recommend?
Well, the first thing I would tell them is, okay, let's fast forward 20 years. They don't make rackets like that really anymore, for starters. So we have to kind of dispel the thought of, I want something that's going to feel like that. You're just not going to find it short of going on eBay and buying that old pro staff. You can get close, but it's not going to be the same. Mm-hmm. And you've changed in the last 20 years. So what you thought felt great then probably isn't going to feel as good now. So I would kind of prep the customer that way first to say, let's get rid of that part. And then explain why current rackets are doing well in terms of technology, in terms of just playability, ease of access, and just makes the game a little more fun as we get into our older years.
What would you put me into?
Well, yeah, I would say, well, let's have you demo some rackets first and foremost. But if I was to pick, you like a firm feel. Gee, I would think Pure Drive.
Right.
Possibly Pure Arrow. Now, 20 years, I'm thinking he's probably not hitting a modern forehand. He's probably not hitting a modern two-handed backhand.
Continental, maybe one grip, both sides.
Yeah, maybe
one grip,
Eastern,
all sides.
Yeah, right. So probably very flat type of hitter. So you want to give him something with some semblance of control. But yeah, I would say that Pure Drive, though it's a power racket, you get the firmness. Boy, then possibly if he likes that old school feel, then I'd have to think Blade. I'd have to think Percept 97. I'd have to think Head, Prestige, Gravity, Radical if you like a crisper feel. Depends on the person and what they're trying to look for.
What I'm really shocked is that Perry, Mr. Yonex here, did not say E-Zone.
Oh, well, that would have been my first option to say, but you did say crisper. Now, E-Zones are a bit more muted and plush in feel, so perhaps that's why I didn't select that initially.
So going back to the topic here, the reason why I basically started the way I did with somebody coming back is because typically, I would say 60% to 70% of our customers are that person, whether male or female.
Yep.
And this is where we go into kind of pure drives, right? Number one racket for probably 20 years now or more. Arrow, number two racket for probably the same amount of period. Number three racket is actually an E-Zone.
I would say E-Zone, yeah. 100 or 98, both are doing incredibly well.
Right, and then you did mention Blade. So, and that's like number 4 currently. So those are the 4 rackets that are tops right now.
Clash, I would say, is it knocking on the door?
Right,
there?
Clash is right there too. Top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
Fallen off a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree there.
But that's kind of like why they are doing so well. That's why that top 4, plus or minus that Clash at 5, 6, 7, are doing that well. Is because it's kind of catering to that customer. Now, let's start with the pure drive here.
Sure.
Now, stiffer weekend warrior racket. You put that racket into most people's hands, they're probably gonna get, like they understand it, and it's easy to kind of get what you want out of it immediately.
It has the most wow factor.
Right.
So what you were used to hitting with, you hit with that pure drive, that first ball or two, it's like, wowzers, the responsiveness, the action that you get on the ball right away. And if you're coming back from 10, 15, 20 years of not playing, it would immediately help you in the sense that I don't have to take as big of a swing and wow, look at that thing go.
Definitely. Now, Arrow's a little different though. For that person, you're now suddenly head lighter, spinnier. The number one complaint I have about that racket is like it's so light, and I wind up adding lead to the head for a majority of those people that's coming back from that segment.
For those that hit more traditionally with a more continental or eastern forehand that hit more linearly, both a pure drive and a pure arrow, more of a modern type of racket. So they're designed to want you to swing faster. So if you're not used to that, there's definitely an adjustment period, I would say. But that arrow specifically, it comes around very fast. And I can think of a particular person whose name I will not mention that is an issue for him. All these rackets come around too quick. It's too fast. I got to slow it down. It's like, no, I want it to. But that's the difference between, the older game and the modern game.
Right. So the arrow is kind of catered towards the younger crowd with that, semi-west to west grip. And they, love Rafa, love that racket, love the spin that they're getting. And that's why it's number 2.
And then 98 now with Carlos. Right. So
exactly.
Pretty amazing. Yeah. It's a little more control compared to the 100.
So it's like the cool factor with the arrow.
Big time.
Right. Younger cool. Now we go to E-Zone. Is it color?
Definitely.
Is it Japanese?
Absolutely.
There is a love for Japan right now,
Yeah.
Because our dollar is that strong.
Well, the exchange rate is quite favorable for us.
Right.
Well, I mean, you've seen it in the last probably 10, 15 years. It's just been this steady climb. And you can turn on any tournament. You're eventually going to watch somebody play with a Yonex racket on tour, whether it's the ATP or WTA. I think they've done very well with that aspect of getting it into the hands of up and comers as well as top players.
Right.
And their quality assurance is the industry leader bar none.
Yep. Totally.
So that E-Zone specifically, it's called the EZ1 for a reason. It's a nice balance of power and control. The 100 I would say is the most user friendly. It dampens a lot of the ball's impact, so it's very comfortable. A accommodates a wide range of playing styles.
Right. Exactly.
Anywhere from beginner recreational player up to a pro level player, like an Andy Murray,
That's right.
deciding to switch from his old head, thin beam radical-esque, heavy racket to just walking into a shop. I'd like to buy an E-Zone 100. Sure.
Yeah, that was shocking to me.
Very
that I
shocking.
Heard that.
Unbelievable. So, yeah, it's just a great all-around type of racket that can cover a wide range of playing styles.
So here's what I'm thinking, and tell me if you agree. Pure drive, pure arrow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You think E-Zone 100 is right in the middle?
I don't know if it'd be in the middle. Maybe it's a triangle. I don't know how I would put it. It has some aspects, I think, maybe leaning towards the arrow in terms of it's not as crisp and not as firm in feel as a pure drive.
Mm-hmm.
Although the new one, it's definitely got a little more zip than the prior version.
Right.
But the feel of it, just because of the VDM in the handle, the mesh, and also the new Minilon and the shaft, it really absorbs a lot of the impact of the ball. So it just feels very plush, very comfortable. But yeah, I would say it kind of fits somewhere-ish in between.
Yeah, it's not on the outer of either one. It's somewhere kind of, I mean, because it's blue, I'm thinking it's pure drive-ish. That's just me thinking because of the color coordinating of these models, what it seems like.
And I think you've probably done this with your customers as well. It's like, well, what's comparable to a pure drive? Well, yeah, an Ultra. Oh yeah, an E-Zone.
Right.
Though it's not kind of, it's sort of. But
the 100's in realm, I think.
Yeah,
it's in realm
for sure.
Yeah.
So it's kind of Yonex's power racket in their lineup.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the versatility of it is, I think, what kind of separates it a little bit.
Right. Now, the fourth is the player stick, and the best-selling player stick out there right now is the Blade.
For sure.
Now, why is that?
Wow, where do we begin? So, yeah, it's definitely more of an old school, thin, straight beam. The 98 is the most popular by far. The 1619, they offer an 1820. Wish they released the 1819. Why would they put that out and tease it and then not make it available for us? I'd like to talk to somebody about that.
They might keep it in-house. They might keep it in-house and just sell it on Wilson.com.
Hopefully they will someday. Yeah, that was terrible. I don't want to get into that.
They had that in the pro staff, though, in the 1819.
Yeah. But the fact they launched this V9 Blade, and then a couple of these YouTube people came out and said, oh, we just happened to get this exclusive 1819. And of course, it just drove everybody crazy.
Is that Dimitrov? Because of Dimitrov?
Blade. I'm talking about the Blade.
No, right. But I thought maybe I was thinking the Dimitrov kind of mold. Or is it an 1818? I think
it's like an 1816 or something crazy like that. Yeah, but in any event, it's like, of course, you want what you can't have.
Of course, everybody.
It's like,
everybody.
How do we get this? Yeah.
Everybody.
But I digress. But back to the Blade. So it's interesting. It's a player's racket. I mean, you say it's more for that advanced player that can generate their own power. What they're looking for is precision control. But it's a modernized player's racket in the sense that it's a 98 square inch head. It's balanced 4 points headlight versus the traditional 7, 8, 9 points headlight. So you can get away with a 305 gram racket for that fast swing, but still have some stability so that you don't have to weigh it down. So for that modern type of stroke, I think that's why it is done so well. It bridges the gap between a traditional control racket and the modern swing path. I think it's a magic combination.
Yeah, I feel like I see it a lot in college tournaments. I string them a lot in college tournaments, and I see that it's like the perfect, like, what do you call it?
Platform?
It's a perfect, like, standard platform for customization.
Absolutely.
I've seen lead all over the freaking head, in the handles and like the throats, the thing. It's like it's the perfect core for doing what you need to do to it to make it to your own needs, that you can actually, the schools get these for the kids, the ones that are D1.
Yes.
Like they get the packages for the kids for either a great price or free. And instead of having to get like a pro version that they can't get, this is the perfect thing that they can just mold to what they want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in the stock form, it goes through so fast. Yep. And even on contact in that light standard form, it does have great feel. Mm-hmm. It does have just enough power.
Yeah.
And it suits both the women and the men that are at that level.
For sure, because like the women, like a D1 level or up to WTA, their swing is a bit, they drive more versus that, upward path. I think, when I think about that, it makes sense. It's very malleable in that respect, and that even in stock form, 305 grams, but 4 points headlight, it has a swing weight of about 320 something. So. You're already more than halfway there.
Right.
Whereas if you went with the pro staff, you got to go to 315 grams. Then you got to go, it's a smaller head size, it's more headlight. Not, you have to add more to that. So now you're in the 320, 330 gram range. So they're trying to go away from that, I think, based on the swing, the change in the game.
So let's summarize this a little bit. Pure drive, I feel like weekend warrior, USTA
big
player
wow
extraordinaire.
Yes.
Arrow is juniors, I feel like cool factor.
Yeah, or competitive.
E-zone is like latest and greatest cool factor, I feel like.
Yeah, the Swiss Army knife of rackets, if you will, yes.
And then the ultimate player's racket is the Blade.
Blade, yeah. Right. I mean, I think all the other competitors, the Blade is the standard for that control racket. I mean, Gravity Tour, you would think would be a close competitor. It is, but I think the Blade does everything a little better in most all the categories. Same thing. It's funny, an E-zone 98 would be kind of an outlier competitor because it's a variable beam, but it's got great control.
Right. And it's, that's the one thing that Yonex does is they don't take the 100 mold and just make it smaller. They actually tweak the beams on the 98. It's actually thinner taper beam.
Yeah, so it's a completely different racket altogether. It's more, more evident now the difference between the 100 and 98 are very distinct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm that guy 20 years not playing. Those are my 4 top rackets that you sell. You mentioned 3 of them. Now, what string would you recommend? Let's say I chose Pure Drive. What string are you giving me?
Yeah, so 20 years, so you're not a spring chicken. I'm gonna probably not put you in an RPM Blast or an ALU Power or something real crispy and stiff. I want you to come back, and I don't want you to come back in an arm sling. So I'm probably going to put you in a nice multi-filament, something like a Babolat XL Premium. NXT Power.
NRG.
Yes, okay. Or biphase if you want something softer, a little more pocketing. I mean, those are all great examples of a good multi-filament. To kind of counterbalance the firmness of that Pure Drive.
What tension would you give me?
Well, 50 to 59 is the range, so 54 would be midpoint. If you're just starting out, I'd say just go right in the middle. Start off at 54. And I often would tell customers, it's going to take a couple different string jobs, different tensions, different type of string until you find that magic combination. But I think that would be a great baseline.
Okay, if I chose the Arrow, would we go same route?
I would go similar route, yeah. Okay. I mean, they're numbers-wise and everything, they're so close. Even an E-zone, I would say something of that Blade. Now that changes, the equation, because if you're 20 years coming into it, gosh, I'd probably lower the tension a bit. Maybe
48 pounds go gut.
How good is gut? Yeah, I mean, depending on the pocketbook. And if they're picking Blade, that means they're 20 years separated, but they could probably hit the ball.
Right.
They probably hit the ball pretty hard.
Right.
So I would maybe possibly a hybrid.
Okay.
Maybe have them dip their toe in a
Hybrid at 48.
Potentially, yeah. Yeah. Depending on what they're trying to do. If they're trying to work on that, I want to hit more spin. I want to hit more. Okay. Well,
what about that
10.
E-zone? What about that E-zone?
Yeah, that E-zone, it's, again, very versatile, but depending on the player, I would say, start off with a multi. But if you're telling me you're playing competitively still and you just want, you want something that's going to give you some spin, then I'd look at maybe a softer poly to start with.
So if I'm the arrow guy and now I'm 16 years old, high school kid, what would I use? And I'm like kind of middle of the road. I play like number 3 in high school, boys team.
Well, I mean, you could follow the leader and go Hyper G. No, you got to go Mach 10.
Mach 10.
Mach 10, baby.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mach 10. Yes.
Mach 10, RPM blast, obviously. RPM rough if you want something that's maybe a little bit more pocketing.
Yeah, and they'll enhance that racket even more if you can get into a
if you want to go more boutique kind of string, then Toro line for sure, restring, grapple snake. You can get into all sorts of, you can easily fall into that rabbit hole. I mean, even Yonex makes some pretty good polys. I know.
That is Asperia treplum. Have you heard of that? Grapple snake?
Yeah. That's the...
It's a roughened edged string from Grapple Snake.
Yes.
I was really shocked. That string is really good.
Yeah. And that we might see more of that potentially if it takes hold. But God, there's so many good strings out there. Lynx Tour from Head would be one.
Right.
Your Confidential. I mean, there's all sorts of good polys.
Something firmer, I mean, if you want a thinner and firmer would be great for that arrow. Like, especially if you're into the modern
tour
game.
bite,
for
sure. If you want maximum grab on the ball and crisper feel.
So since you're Mr. E-Zone Yonex, what would you put? What plays the best in that?
If it's a
98.
If it's a 98, boy, I really enjoyed that Mach 10. It's a nice, balanced, comfortable, good tension maintenance poly. It's very good. I kind of like my combo of Polytour Rev in the main and Polytour Strike in the cross.
Okay, I get that.
So you get that, you get a little more snapback, but you still get a little bit of a grab off the Rev. What I like about both is that they're consistent, much like your Confidential. I think it comes down to a feel thing. You like a crisper feel. I tend to like more of a, not deadish, but more of a muted kind of feel. Yeah.
So I feel like the 98 needs a noisy racket because it's so quiet. Like the more sound, the more impact hard, the better, at least for me.
Same thing with the V-Core. It's very muted. Like when you tried the Tour, you're like, this thing's too muted. I can't feel anything. So I agree with you that a crisper string will tend to kind of offset that muted sort of, so you get some semblance of, feedback.
Right. Now the 100 was a little different for me. I felt like more maybe it was a hollowness through the racket that it gave me, because I was like, oh, this is a totally different racket. And I like the 100 a little bit more.
I think the 100, it just swings a little more naturally. The 98, though it's a tweener racket, you got to work with that, right? I mean, it's not for everybody. I mean, you have to have some level to be able to play with it well.
Right. And I like Mach 10 in that one. I love Mach 10, or like Restring 0. Anything baby blue.
or what's their new one? Synchro, or the new Restring? It's like a teal color.
Yes,
Synchro.
Vivo.
That's
the recycled. Yes.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting because
And then Pure Drive. And then Blade. Obviously, I see a lot of ALU. I probably, if you were starting off maybe an NXT, you know, anything like that would be great in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a hybrid.
Depending
setup.
on the level, obviously you will be a pro level or high level player. You probably know what you like at that point. Probably don't need much of our help in that. But thank you for staying with us. We've gone through a lot of what hopefully you guys need to know in terms of the top 4 selling rackets in the nations and what strings, you know, work the best with them.
Yeah.
So I want to thank my buddy Perry for hanging out with me today, and
my pleasure.
Yeah, giving us his retail experience too. You know, guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.